Thank you all for coming. We have a roll call of the members. Tim Jarrett is present. Linda Alexander. Here. Present. Catherine Parenkina. Here. Claudia Pedroncelli.
Here.
Julia Carrera.
Present.
David Eby.
Here.
Thomas Aceves.
Here.
All right. All members are present. We have a quorum. Pledge of allegiance. The flag is that way. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I practiced today, still do. Minutes? Are we
No, I just
okay.
make sure.
This is a template for
And it'll be this meeting and the last meeting, right?
it will be the last two meetings
Yes.
plus this one
Yes.
because we had tabled the reading at the last meeting for the previous month's minutes. Okay, so Middle Creek Flood Project Workshop.
Woohoo!
Okay, so the first item is the mailer, and we have four different items. The first one is cost. And do we have, are we discussing the cost, or are we?
We're discussing.
Yeah, I'll just give you an update. If you guys, what do you remember?
I have it already.
Beforehand?
Is this added to the version 2 or version 1?
I'm just, remember, these are the notes that I took today of our meeting, so I just wrote what we talked about.
Okay.
That's what I put on your agenda.
Okay, so you were going to find out about how we.
Right. Exactly. And then you gave the version, so Alex.
Wow, I gotta work out.
Cost.
What is the cost of this?
Well, I don't know what it is either, however, I can explain it. Yeah. Okay, so what they asked, we met Thursday last week and we discussed the mailer and how we can go about that. Water Resources is providing us the labels. And so we did provide the PG&E paperwork that showed how to apply for those funds. But because this situation is a little different, I was just going to work on it with admin to get your mailers taken care of. So when you provide me the verbiage that you vote on today, take it, order it, and see it, and get it done so that you have the mailer for that area. And so the cost will be taken care of either through the funding that you have, but if there's another way I can do it, that way you don't have to purchase it and then reimburse it because it's a real short notice. And so I talked to admin. With your PG&E budget, you should be able to cover it. Right.
And the labels that we're getting are from Zone 8.
Right, Zone 8 is what we have, what we have on the notes that you asked Scott to give. And he said he'd provide those.
Is that Zone 8, is that your picture, Julia?
Yes. And it's not my picture, it's the picture from the feasibility.
Yes,
study.
yes. Well, it's the picture you brought.
Yes, there you are.
Will the budget that we're available to have $100 or so?
Yeah, that's the PG&E budget.
Sufficient to cover the cost?
Yes.
I don't know the cost of all of them.
That's the thing, I won't know until I have the verbiage and then I'll go and get it priced for your, because you said you wanted a postcard type of mail out, so that's what we'll.
Cheaper.
Right.
How big are we doing? Is it going to be the size here? Like a campaign size thing?
I think that's up for discussion.
Okay.
Right.
So is there enough for people?
Uh-huh.
And this picture, this picture represents the area that would be flooded within that 100-year flood. And that's the area that
There's a sign-in sheet, everyone.
So,
we're working on sending out the,
okay, so EJ, with the cost of this postage, is that a one-time thing?
Yes.
Okay, so we're done with any other output when we utilize that for this, we're done?
That's up to your council, though, if you wanted to do another mail out on something.
Well, no, I'm just wondering if there was anything else that would be coming up, or it's just a one-time thing?
It would be just for what you're asking for.
Or, yeah. all right.
Right.
So, it sounds like we don't know what the cost is, but we're meeting so it sounds like admin's gonna cover the cost. We're
Right.
meeting before the workshop so we could authorize the expenditure
Right.
then, unless then.
Well, they could delegate, in that paperwork for the PG&E that I gave you, you as a council can delegate a person to work with me on that.
Right, that might be a good idea, and that form is a reimbursement form, which is supposed to
Right.
attach receipts.
Right.
Do we know the number of residents this will outreach to by chance?
We need
Who would know that?
that's why we need the labels.
Okay, so that would be coming forthcoming.
Yeah, 3-4 discussed that, so we're just on the cost right now, but if it's okay with the chair to jump to 3-4, the conduct of the meeting, do you all have an agenda in front of you? Okay. The address covered, so Mr. De Leon said he would supply Zone 8 labels. But there might be, once we have those labels, we'll know where those addresses are, but there might be a difference between Zone 8 and this 100-year composite floodplain, which was taken from the YouTube video on the feasibility study. So we've got to compare those two, and because I think that the mailing should go to anyone that's affected by this picture, because they're going to be affected either by a ½ inch up to 10 feet of water. So,
I think the post office can provide you with that for sure, all the PO boxes and physical addresses that are in this area.
well,
The other issue we have are the folks that don't receive mail. I mean, there might be individuals we have to make exceptions for to make sure that they got this information. I don't know, I don't know if people get general delivery or if they receive their mail at a joint residence.
so I think, from my perspective, how I see it is, we do the mailing whatever addresses we end up having, but we also post it in all the places that we post it at. We put it on the county website where we post the agendas, so that hopefully we cover those people that don't receive.
Facebook and everything.
Yeah, everything like we do.
Everything else.
Yeah, the reason of the direct mailing is that tends to be far more effective and can reach more people than just the posting. So hopefully the posting will cover those people you're speaking about.
Well, obviously,
The labels would cover the addresses in that area, section 8, that it would have those PO boxes.
Right.
so I mean, obviously, there's always going to be somebody that's going to get missed. So if people can't get email, then they're not going to get
And
mail.
hopefully the other aspect is that people will read it and not discard it.
Well,
That's, that's something we're
We can't- we can't do anything about that. It's
No, I get it.
it's like posting for this meeting. People don't have to come.
It's a first impression, usually it takes about 8 impressions to get someone to notice something, but this is what we have, what the budget is, so.
Well, we're also, we're covering the bases that we need to cover to move forward with this project. I mean, it's like, it needs to be done whether people know about it or not.
Right. Your workshop is the most important thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'd like to motion that on the next board meeting, we have the cost, hard cost, if there actually is one, and we take action to vote on paying for that, if we actually have to pay for it.
So the council would have to pay for it with the PG&E grant, is that the idea? So we would have to vote on it to say to do
To
that?
cover the cost, yes.
Okay, so
Or you could designate someone to do that as well,
designate someone to okay the,
on your council.
well, we have a motion. Can you repeat the motion?
I'm happy to. So I move that we include on our agenda for our next regular board meeting a cost expenditure for the mailing, if in fact we're going to have one. We may or may not have one. And that we include it as an action item so that we can expend funds if need be.
Is that gonna give us enough time to get the mailers out? If we wait,
Well, the county's paying for it up front.
do you wanna move to?
So you add minutes, maybe, or is that just?
Well, that's the process. It goes
Yeah.
through. And to prevent from you having to go and buy them and then do a receipt, I'm working with them to just do a straight purchase rather than, yeah.
So, yes, so we have a motion to pay for this with our PG&E funds,
No,
to be voted at the September meeting.
when we have actual costs.
Yes. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that, because I would like to know the cost.
Yes, well, we definitely have to have the cost before we can pay for it.
Right.
Yes, Kate?
This mailing list is being drawn from the county property rule.
Yes, it's coming from Water Resources for that section 8, towards it, area 8.
Zone 8.
Zone 8, yeah.
So presumably, it's relatively complete for people who are sufficiently interested to basically have utility activity on the property. And
Correct.
they're already designated as property owner.
Yeah, well, we have to wait for the boundaries in Zone 8, which we don't have. We want to make sure that the boundaries of Zone 8 cover all of these areas on this feasibility map that will be underwater if there's any kind of flooding. Because we want to make sure that anybody that is touched by this flooding gets a postcard.
But returning to the motion, which is to
And second.
pay for the mailing when we find out the cost. And we do have a second.
Yes. Right.
Is there any more discussion? So I guess we just take the vote.
So, all those in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
No.
Great.
You say no? Okay. And I say aye, so it's 6-1. So, that's, can I ask, what's your reservation?
It doesn't matter.
No, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Move on.
Yep. Procedure, mailer procedure.
I just took the notes that you told me to put on there, especially from your email, so I don't know.
What the procedure
The
is?
procedure basically would be once you choose the verbiage, and I'll have the cost for you. And then we just either have to put it together by either putting postage on it, if I can get mailers with postage on it, and it's just mailed out.
So when you say mailers, my assumption is, and please correct me if I'm.
It's your card, the card that you're recommending.
Yeah, please correct me if I'm wrong. We're providing the verbiage, they're gonna stamp it on a postcard size that you.
Or
they-
print it on.
Yeah, that they provide the paper, the card, they provide the printing and the ink. Hopefully it's got a bold stamp on it, and if not, they provide the postage, and it goes out.
The only thing that if they don't provide the postage, we'll have to put the postage on. If you put together a group, like we talked about, working together to do it, we can do that together.
Okay, So,
But if they have a card stock that has the postage on it, we'll avoid that. If it doesn't, I'll be letting you know, hey, let's meet so we can send this out.
How would we put postage on,
with stamps.
literally by hand?
Yeah.
For how many?
About 1,100. It's-
Right, and so that's what I'm aiming for,
focusing on the
but as a
solution,
contingency, I'm just
which
making
is-
sure.
We've got volunteers, I'm not too.
Yeah, yeah,
Like bulk mail.
So that's in the future then?
Right.
People want to help.
Yes, of course.
Alternately, there's some pre-stamped envelopes,
Yeah.
inside envelopes available. And this is, I would wish this to be in a font that people who need to use bifocals can read readily. And this may be in excess of what a standard postcard would carry.
This, yeah,
Might best be represented on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, 12 or 14 point font, and folded into its.
and then the envelope,
Yeah.
that's a whole other thing.
It's more costly.
Yes.
Indeed, but then so's the consequences of not taking action, which is painful. So I think guessing just the cost of what I recently priced a box of 1,000 envelopes, we're looking at probably, if we were buy the envelopes pre-posted through the post office, is going, the whole event would probably cost us around $950, which includes postage, because it's not going to be a big cost just to have photocopying sheets.
I kind of like, I understand that cost. I'm kind of more on the conservative end of things. Is there some way that we could, because I realize that this postcard is going to be much more reasonable, Kate. I understand what you're saying.
Right.
And accessibility for the visual of seniors and so forth. But I'm wondering how, that's why I would really like to know what the cost is going to be.
I don't see how you can put this on a postcard. It's too much.
No, you're not putting the full paper
No.
out.
No, I'm saying even a
Even
section.
a half sheet.
So, hold on, guys. This is a sample draft. This isn't what the font is or what's going on with those cards. We haven't talked about that yet. We can limit the wording, we can change the font size, we can make the postcard any size that the county has available. You know, we're not on that yet. Shall we move to that or then proceed?
I think we should, because I think it's, an issue is that sometimes we're too inundated with information
Right.
and people tend to turn off and they won't read. So I think if we, narrow it down to a specific and
Right.
utilize postage, this postcards. where
The
we-
only, the only way somebody's gonna, if it says, you're in trouble. No, I'm serious.
It is true.
You're underwater.
Yeah,
Urgent.
yeah, because like you
Or
get
do
a
you
card,
want to be underwater?
if you get a card, it's like, it could be 50-50 whether you even read the whole thing.
That's the whole thing, yeah.
So EJ, part of the challenge here is, can we do only black and white, can we do color,
That's more expensive.
That's a,
Okay. The county has capabilities for anything.
well, I'm working probably with the printing group that does it, so.
I don't know anything there, so, it might be, please chime in, audience, if you have some ideas on what might bring attention to this postcard, since we've got one fell swoop.
So, number one, does everybody understand what we're talking about here?
Yeah, I do.
So, we're trying to, we want to send out something in the mail
Yeah, they understand this.
to every resident that's in this area. Right?
I do have a question though.
Yes,
Have you set the date yet?
for
The
the,
It's not
workshop.
on the agenda yet.
Okay,
We're
so,
not- It's on the agenda, we're not there yet.
okay, so then back to the what you're trying to figure out about what to put on it and how much it will cost. I'm not clear on why Water Resources wouldn't be just paying for this. Because this is a water resources issue.
Yes, it
And so I'm not sure why, I mean, the supervisor's going to an enormous amount of effort to try to figure out everybody's, but I'm not sure why they're not just doing it. The county also has a mailroom with a stamp machine that they knock stuff through and mail it and can give you all the estimates on what this would cost you.
Right.
So I think that that could save you guys a little bit of time too. And also on your postcard, you might want to put one of those little scanning things that will save you a lot of things. For more information, scan this, go
Oh,
to
yeah,
a
good
website,
idea.
and we will explain it on your, maybe we could get the county to give you guys a web page. But I don't understand why Water Resources isn't just saving you guys the heartache of trying to figure all this out and just not doing that.
But then you're saying, AJ, that they're expecting reimbursement, correct?
No.
No?
What I basically need, and she's right, they do have that, but I need what you're going to put on it to determine how I'm gonna go about it. That's basically it. If I need to go through the mailroom, I need what you're putting on here.
Yeah, you can't go to the people and say how much is it without showing them what it is that you are trying to do.
And I gave you two contingencies, basically, is if we have to go the route of using your PG&E funds, that's one. If I can work with, which we didn't get an answer from Scott except for the mailing labels, that was it. So that's the other route. These are just contingencies. Basically, I need what you're gonna put on it, and then I'll go from there.
So I happen to agree with Elizabeth that, you know, it's a water resources issue. We're helping the water resources, partnering with them. You know, the two events that they had were very low attendance. We're trying to, you know, since that time, there's lots of discussion about this situation in this town, and there's people starting to pay attention, and I think we're gonna get more people. And so, I think that the QR code is a great idea. I'd like to be working with somebody from Water Resources on the mailing, you know, about having them say, yeah, this sounds good, or, you know, something, so we're more in partnership instead of the silence.
And I think the attention grabbing is the first thing that we need to look at,
I agree.
because other than that, they're going to just discard it. So
I agree.
we've got to be very straightforward and alert the residents.
I agree. Anyone have any ideas on what that's gonna look like? I mean, if we can do color and we don't have to pay for it, I say we use this map and we put all the verbiage in white on this side, and we have a line item on the top, or a title on the top that says, do you know you could be underwater soon, or something like
I would
that?
say something like Upper Lake.
The mailing out of these, this is the address label side. Everything you're talking about, verbiage, it's all in the back. You have a
Correct.
blank sheet, you have a clean slate here.
Exactly.
If you get the PG&E mailers, if you get the solar mailers, they have color, and then they're black and white on the back with all the information for you.
Correct.
This is the eye-catcher side.
But you should have a bullet point there, it should say something like Upper Lake is at great flood risk. Or do you know Upper Lake is at great flood risk?
Yeah, you use the word risk.
It's on your verbiage.
Yeah, but I mean, on the front, you have
Something
something
else
up
here,
here.
you guys wanna mail out.
But this is the size of the postcards that the post office has.
Is it really? That big?
I just got it in the mail.
Half sheet?
Yeah, it's a half sheet.
So
And it's cardstock.
we're talking about the catchphrase at the top. And, you know, someone said, do you know Upper Lake is at great flood risk? Does anyone else? I like the, do you know you could be underwater soon?
And I think the word, if we could interject the word risk, because that seems to grab a lot of people's attention.
You are at risk? What about just you are at risk?
You gotta put flood in there,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about.
Right.
And that's what.
Flood risk.
Flood-
Upper Lake is at
Flood
flood
risk.
risk.
Yeah, and just keep it brief.
And that's it. And
Yeah.
walk around the other side.
In red, in red.
So I like those ideas too, but I think that the flood part's gonna be in the rest of it, and the eye-catching thing is you are at risk. And then talk about Upper Lake
Well,
good flood.
but I think you need to identify the flood risk. because
Yes,
if
you
somebody-
do.
Yeah.
That postcard does need to
Yeah,
be
but
done.
on the front, because
On the
it's
front,
if you're at
right.
risk, and people think, well, what, you know, and give it a toss, so
Yeah, you need to put flood.
you have to put flood
I
risk.
would think,
Okay.
I mean, then you're definitely, they know what you're talking about. You know, and mean, if this was the front of it, was like flood risk in red, or some such thing. And then your verbiage on the back. That would be fantastic. That would be pretty good, I suppose.
Well, we've got to make a decision, so make a motion. Summer.
I'll make a motion that we identify, the verbiage on the front to be eye-catching and say, do you realize that, Upper Lake is at flood risk?
Upper Lake is at great flood risk.
Right, okay.
Or you could just say Upper Lake flood risk.
Yeah, I like that. Flood risk alert.
Yeah,
Upper Lake
flood risk.
Yeah, alert, yeah.
Upper Lake flood. So do we all like Upper Lake flood risk alert?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We got the catchphrase.
That's the front.
And then when you flip it over, keep it as minimal as possible.
Well, you could, I mean, if it's that big, you could definitely put the whole
Verbiage, yeah.
piece of thing on.
Yeah, it'll all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking of like a 3x5, postcard.
Okay, well, we've got two versions here, and I think, this is just a draft. We can write anything we want. This is just something to work from. And at the bottom, I really think we need to include the feasibility study YouTube address, because I think it's full of great information. And so I handwrote, you will find very useful information regarding the feasibility study on the levy issues. I mean, we don't have to say that, that's just what I wrote. Maybe what about this? Upper Lake flood risk alert. And then we could say, learn more at, and use that YouTube channel.
There's a comment on the chat from Betsy.
Uh-huh.
It says recommends keeping to short sentences, maximum 5 key points, no long explanations, include contact information.
Perfect.
And always keep in mind, I mean, since I work with seniors, there are many that don't have computer access. They're lucky even if they have a phone. And so, those are really a focal group that we've got to reach. So
Sure.
Are these people without the mail as well?
they'll get mailed, but if you're, referring to something else that they need
Okay.
to.
I think that's a
to
very important
reference.
component. So learn more with that link and come to the flood risk workshop.
Well, in both verbiages, it doesn't have an address.
Right, because it's
I know what you're thinking, but some don't know where this building is. A lot of them don't know that there's a Mexican restaurant across the street.
Yeah, so we need to include the address, which I can have in a draft of this.
It's 9460 Main Street,
Thank you.
Upper Lake, California.
95485.
Don't give them that. And they'll mail it.
Okay. Does anyone want to choose one of these versions or work from it and create a new verbiage?
I'm in favor of version 2. It's not a straw poll.
Yeah.
The top one seems like a local road. The bottom one seems like government written. Not that one's not more professional, just
Okay, sounds good. Version 2, anyone object to that?
No.
Okay, do we want to change any wording in that?
and we're going to add your bottom handwritten thing at the bottom.
Sure, you want to change any verbiage in here and thing at the bottom?
Well, I think that, just keeping that
Sorry
brief,
about my
yeah,
writing.
so that those with computer access.
Yeah.
Okay. Useful information found at, sounds great.
Did you want to do the QR code like Elizabeth?
Yeah.
A QR code that goes to the link, the
Yeah, with your
YouTube link?
phone.
We can, with the link and the QR code, if we can get one, might be,
A QR code?
yeah.
It's got to be.
It would have to be the water resources QR code, I would imagine.
Well, but the QR code is going to take you to the YouTube.
Yeah, but some people don't have, especially seniors, the ability for QR codes.
Yeah,
So
well,
having
no,
it
of course, of
will
course.
help both of those things.
Yes,
I-
sir.
I'm a senior and I don't even get it.
I was just gonna suggest that maybe you direct people to the library and provide them with substantial information since this place.
Oh, good idea.
Like some
Excellent
flyers,
idea.
some flyers that have more information that seniors can read.
Yeah.
It is a county building, so it's all one
Yeah.
thing. But again, why are you guys so in the weeds on this? Isn't this a county obligation, not yours?
Yeah, well,
And
they
this
don't
is-
have enough
You're
staff.
right. I just need I'm working with them on the verbiage and what they need. This is what she sent in an email that she wanted to do, so I just need that. I'll work with them on getting what they need.
We're getting there. Hopefully that happens.
And I will volunteer to outreach to seniors that I have a list that I call twice a week, so that they are aware of the time, the place, and that sort of thing, so.
That's fabulous.
So I'll get that.
So that might take the place of the library situation.
It shouldn't take the place of the library.
Okay, good.
It should
Let's
be
include
handled.
one, sounds good.
Right, yeah, because I do get overflow. I had several people come in because of the library hours, and so I have, computer set up and so forth. So I can,
So Claudette, maybe you and I could work on what you're talking about in the library. And Supervisor Crandall, you and I can work on the QR code and the actual
Right.
doing of it and getting it out. Does that sound good to everybody?
I didn't hear your first part.
Maybe you and I could work on getting it out to what we just spoke to and to the library.
Okay, well, I don't have a problem with reaching seniors, so I don't really
Want to do
have
library?
any, yeah, I don't
Okay,
have
I'm
time.
happy to do the library.
Okay.
I love the library because it's.
Oh, I
Across the
love
street.
library, but I just don't.
And today, they were fixing the library. We've had the county workers here mowing, doing the library. It was a lovely day yesterday in Upper Lake.
And as far as I know, they fixed the street lights.
Oh, goodness.
Hallelujah.
This is lovely.
But,
This is so lovely.
They fixed the electrical part of it.
We're not supposed to talk about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're right.
That was my bad. So verbiage on the card, we need to add the address, which is 94, where did I put the address?
It's on your agenda.
9460 Main Street.
Thank you. Do we have any other input or changes to the verbiage other than the second version, adding the address, useful information with the link, and a QR code from Water Resources? If not, I make a motion for all of that.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to accept the version 2 with the changes.
Any discussion?
Is there any discussion?
Let's take a vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Opposed? Opposed, have to ask.
Yeah, okay, opposed?
There we go.
The ayes have it.
Okay.
All right, so verbiage is,
Great, now we're on the date of the workshop, yeah?
well, conduct of mailing,
We
that's,
already talked
covered
about that.
that's basically it, okay. Date for the workshop, okay, that's the next item.
So I have some input on that. The Upper Lake Community Council is having their fall festival meeting on September 27th and meeting at the same time. And CDFW requested it be the 28th, not the 27th.
Are those Wednesdays and Thursdays, Julia?
I didn't hear that, sorry.
Are those Wednesdays and Thursdays?
Tuesday and Wednesday, I think.
Tuesday, okay.
Tuesday, I believe. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
I have one.
I would like to make a motion that we stay with September 28th, the Wednesday.
Great, I second that.
28th is Wednesday, that's
I
nice.
second that. Any discussion?
Time,
5:30.
5:30.
It's on the third.
So, okay, sorry.
I'll take the first.
Yeah.
5:30, so we have a motion and a second. Now, this is for the workshop.
Yes.
Okay, so I sort of had the impression it would be during the day or something.
No.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to set September 28th at 5:30 p.m. in this building.
Hopefully it's clear.
It is, I
Okay, okay.
As the
I would put Wednesday in there. Oh, yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah, of course, well. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. All right, so September 28th at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday is set as the date for the workshop.
Excellent.
Okay. Formalities?
When do we meet again?
Say again?
When do we meet again?
We meet again the 21st of September.
So if we're meeting on the 21st to discuss the cost, is 1 week enough time? I know it's not enough time.
Yes, that's correct.
So I think the issue is that probably water resources or someone from the county is going to pay for this. We just need the formality of an expenditure if we're going to have one. But this is going to go out before that expenditure is approved, if we even need one.
Yeah, I'd like us to go back and readdress that cost. If we're holding up the whole thing for that cost,
No, you're not. You won't have to hold it.
because I know it takes 4 days to county to get things ready. And then it takes another 2 days to get those things right there.
Will you be setting them out before the meeting, our meeting? Okay.
Well, that's what we'll be working on. But again, like Elizabeth and John stated, the county has a mailer. I'm just working on that aspect. I just need the information.
So,
Want to make sure it gets out.
So do you want me to put the information into an email for you, which I can send you no later than Friday?
Right.
Does that work?
That information.
The way that,
For the
you mean the
verbiage.
information, the same way it's like this?
Yes.
With the link.
Yes. The only thing it won't have is the QR code.
We'll figure that out.
So my question back to the cost is, it's going to be redundant, but we'll have a fixed cost, but we don't have the money to do it, so we just vote no on it.
No,
I don't understand.
it's basically a contingency because when I talked to admin about the mail out, they had said, we just need the information and we'll look at how we can do that. And then they have the PG&E, and then they mentioned, well, what about the PG&E costs? And I'm like, well, why would they have to use their PG&E costs? I'll put it as a contingency, and that's what we talked about that day, and that's why the vote is there. But again,
It would be great if the water resources would cover the cost.
right, and one of his statements when we were there, when we talked to him, was he's dealing with multiple Public Request Act, and that comes first, and that's why we're helping, right?
So we're confident that someone will pay for this.
Right.
And if they don't, we have the PG&E money as a fallback.
It's a fallback, yes. I just need the information here, yes.
So basically, you need the what you're going to send,
Right,
Which will come in this email.
which
by
we've
Friday.
just decided
right.
is going to be version 2 with the blah, blah, blah. And are we?
The goal is for you not to have to pay for it.
Right.
Absolutely.
The only thing I needed was a contingency, so I can show them you made one, and we'll move forward from there.
So we want to hang on to our PG&E money.
Right.
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 So are we pretty certain that we're going to try to do this on the front and the verbiage on the back?
Yes.
So we're going to,
Yes.
which seems like, and
That's what the
I
motion was.
will work on getting the clean image.
That would be great. Can you get it to me tomorrow?
I will do my best.
Thank you.
I will do my
Because
best.
we need to get it to, as a solid thing.
Do you know exactly what timestamp it was?
Yes, is it on here?
Oh, it does say 10310.
Yeah. Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay, so back to formalities.
That's what I have from your notes.
Who is attending?
And I should have been more specific when I put that, but that was talking about like the Army Corps, remember?
Yeah,
like you
so
mentioned,
let's go over that.
that's-
So this, now we're going to talk about exactly who is set to attend at this point.
Yes,
Because you had, you were trying to get a insurance one at one point.
Yes.
And couldn't do it or something?
well, here we go. You
Okay.
ready to listen?
All right.
Okay, good. So the National Flood Insurance Table, so FEMA no longer has flood insurance agents. They have designated farmers, CSAA, Pacific Specialty, there's a list on their website. I have confirmed New Dawn Insurance in Ukiah. Everybody in Lake County has not called me back. It's really a bummer. So if anyone knows a farmer's insurance agent or a CSAA agent in Lake County, it would be really great to have Lake County agents at that table instead of one Ukiah agent. That's, because the idea is people will sign up for flood insurance at that table, and New Dawn Insurance is prepared for that.
So, but these, anybody that writes insurance
Flood insurance,
is
FEMA.
covered by FEMA.
FEMA flood insurance. There's,
Oh, okay, so it's a specific, like you go to farmers and you say, I want a FEMA flood insurance.
yes, Farmers is one of the designated companies. CSAA is one of the designated companies. And there's a bunch of other ones that are very costly. I bought flood insurance through New Horizon Insurance in Ukiah because nobody else wanted that.
Is this the same with this new Dawn? Is that the same? Is this the same insurance company that you said provided your insurance?
Yes.
Are they coming? Are they going to show up?
Yes,
Okay.
but it would be nice to have more than one insurance person. Yes.
So, but, I mean, theoretically, any farmer's agent in Lake County,
That writes flood insurance.
that, they have to write flood insurance specifically.
Yes.
Okay. So
Via FEMA
So-
approved flood insurance.
So do you think it's worth knocking on their door again?
Yes.
Letting them know that we have this already set up for
Yes.
September?
Now that I have a date, yes. Not having a date has been a challenge.
That's all I need to make.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm going to keep going unless there's more questions. I really encourage all council members that know farmers agents or CSAA agents to contact them and ask them to, it's an opportunity for new business.
do you have a list of these, of all the?
Yeah, it's at the FEMA flood insurance website.
For Lake, and it says about Lake County agents.
They ask by state, and then they list them by state, and then in that listing, it says what town they're in. So it's Kelseyville and Lakeport.
So FEMA flood insurance, the website was
Yeah,
FEMA flood insurance, that's it? What-
just type that in.
Okay.
It'll come up. I don't know if I'm right, sorry.
So literally, if you saw somebody that was in Lake County, you could give them a call.
That's right. It's a great new business opportunity. I don't know why anyone isn't jumping at it.
Hmm.
Maybe they don't make enough on flood insurance, I don't know. So I'm gonna move on to the next table, if that's okay.
Yes,
Fish and Wildlife. So,
CDFW.
yes, CDFW. So Juan Torres, I believe, who's the head of, I think, compliance. He or one of his team members will be here. They're looking for a project description. We're not supposed to talk about it because it wasn't on the agenda, but we kind of talked about it. And I sent them the links for the feasibility study and a copy of the original letter we sent to the BOS, which kind of gives a general,
The project description is on the agenda.
not,
Yes? Yeah. This is what I sent to the county.
is it, okay. I don't know, I'm confused about it all. So
Yeah.
anyway, we're still talking about attendees, Army Corps of Engineers. So it's probably gonna be the Army Corps of Engineers subcontractor, Kleinstead, I believe it is, who does the inspections every year, 5 years for the Army Corps of Engineers. Over the weekend, I visited my friend that retired from the Army Corps of Engineers, and he's like, he doesn't know. So he set up an appointment with me on Friday with the Ohio office of the Army Corps of Engineers, who I was talking to before. So somehow, I'm convinced that someone representing the Army Corps of Engineers is going to be at this workshop. I just don't have it finalized yet, and I'm working hard to make sure that happens. State Water Board, they're confused about where this whole thing lands, which is really unfortunate. I sent them a copy of the notice that they sent out in late November last year to all of the Upper Lake residents, and I said, here's the notice from the flood prevention program. Someone needs to show up. So I'm waiting to hear back. And I'm pretty convinced that someone from the water board will be here. It just, nobody wants to make any kind of decision. And how I started talking to the water board is I called the executive director of the North Coast Regional Water Quality Control Board in Santa Rosa. And he put me in contact with the folks that I'm talking to now. So I think they'll make a decision at some point. And I think it will be in time for the workshop. But we will have Lake County's water resources as a table. Mr. Daly will confirm that on Thursday.
And for Public Works, you said that too.
No, he said no public works, just he and Marina for water resources.
Okay, I haven't marked for Public Works too, but
That's
Double
not what I
check.
heard.
okay.
And that, I don't.
I'll
Did
double
you-
check.
Linda, you were there, did you hear?
I don't recall,
Okay.
I don't recall that.
I didn't.
We'll double check.
Okay,
Because when you said it, he said, we'll be there. And then I said, for Public Works too? And he said, yes. But he might have been talking to you and me at the same time.
yeah, I did, yeah.
Double check.
Okay. The
He is
sheriff's.
the director for it.
Yeah, the sheriff's office of Department of Emergency Services, because we need a plan for evacuation, right? And I have a tentative yes on that. We've been waiting for a date, so hopefully that's a yes. NRCS, they haven't responded to any of my emails since that June 12th meeting. So I don't know if you've been in contact with them.
I met with them afterwards to show them more projects that were similar. And that was the last I heard from them as well. But I'll reach out again.
Well, they
Is
are
Aaron
responding to me.
Is there a new person now that they said there was going to be a new?
No.
I think the
Jim-
lady was sort of temporarily.
Aaron?
Jim is
Yeah,
in
Jim
charge.
Carrey, but she wasn't the official person, but she's
Jim
sort
is
of.
the official person.
Jim Reenstra?
Jim Ransford, he's the area.
I reached out to
engineer.
Aaron.
Yeah, you need to work with Jim. He told me he was gonna be the guy in charge, and for whatever reason, they don't communicate with me anymore. So if you can copy me on any of those emails, that would be fabulous. And then, I would, yes,
The NRCS, they're gonna be here
They should.
in person.
they should, they said they were going to be, yes.
Would it actually be Jim or?
You'd have to ask.
Well, he said in the meeting he'd be here.
Yeah,
Remember?
exactly.
He said that.
And then one final table that I'd like to promote is a levy vision table. What is your dream vision of a levy? For instance, I think the work that they do to the levy should include, like a park walking thing where public can walk on the levy and see what's going on. and
Instead of
see-
having it all be, you
Yes.
can't walk on it at all.
Well, you can't drive on it, but lots of us walk on the levy.
But on the other side, they do drive on the levy to get to that property.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
That may be, so they can make,
Well, historically, from what I'm being told by the residents who were here, that when it was built, it was a big deal that you couldn't drive on it and you couldn't plant on it.
of course.
And there used to be signs that said that don't exist anymore. I've seen pictures of that were sent.
But I mean, I think that,
I'm becoming a levy expert. I don't want to be a levy
Well, I mean, somebody's got to,
Yeah.
I mean, it's important, we can't just sort of,
But no, nobody can put their head in the sand any longer. It's an emergency.
no, but I know that we went there with Bob and her, we went, that lady that had the,
Stephanie?
I don't know, that,
Sandy, yeah.
the property that you have to drive on the living to get to her.
Sandy. That's exempt, because that levy was there when the house was first put in. So the actual driveway was dual road out here in the Sioux Hands. That's how you got to that house. So once that levy got put in, they had to make access to her house through the levy. That's the only one that's allowed. It's going to use the levy for her residence. Everything else should not be a vehicle on it, public vehicle.
I have a question for you, Bob.
Okay.
Do you know the video that we're talking about of the meeting? You actually went to that meeting when it was in here, didn't you? In like December?
Yes.
You're the only person I know that was at that.
No, it's not.
No.
I was there.
You in December?
Mm-hmm.
When they had the meeting
Uh-huh.
here? Did they advertise that meeting to anybody?
There was a postcard that was very, very small and very uninformed.
So the kind of postcard that we don't want somebody
Right.
to sell.
Because I didn't know, I looked at
No
it,
one
but
was
I didn't
there.
know. So
I had no
that's why
idea.
catch it.
That's how,
That's how you got started in this whole thing?
well, when the state, you know, I'm an inspector for the state, water board. When the state put out that flood warning notice, that's like a neon sign that there's a problem for those of us that work with water board, because they never send out stuff like that. And so that's when and I've been walking that levee for years, noticing that we've got no problems out there, thinking the Army Corps of Engineers wasn't doing their job. So, yeah.
Did you know?
Well, that event, I had a lot to say to the engineering company, and they were very kind to me, so, yeah. And I guess that guy's not there anymore, according to Mr. Doolittle.
But this video is sort of like the video version of the meeting they had here the
Correct.
next day or some such.
Correct, and different things were said,
And
but
they
yes.
had the same people presenting. and-
Julie, are you talking about the Army Corps representative that Scott said? Is that what you're saying? You said he's not there anymore. Were you-
Yeah,
Right, there has been two or...
not Army Corps, that's the engineering firm that did the feasibility
Okay.
study.
For the Army.
Well,
No.
Dylan's the new, I see him in the email that you provided. He's also dealing with us on Middle Creek restoration project.
Yes.
Will Caltrans be there?
It wouldn't be a bad idea. I haven't asked them yet, and we only have so much room. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I would really like to have a vision, like a vision where the community can see, write down or draw or whatever their vision of the levy. But if they had, there's no limit to their
Oh,
cost.
how to make, if there was any alternative uses you could do with the
Yes,
levy.
yeah, and the county just got how much for parks, and there's a lot of money right now at the state and federal level for parks, so, anyway,
So you think it would be a good idea
But
to turn it into
I'm-
some sort of park thing?
yeah. So I think it's a good idea to have Caltrans, but I don't think it's a requirement, because Caltrans deals with the bridges that go over the levee, but they don't deal with the levee. But, they have nice equipment.
No roads?
And lots of money. Oh, well, that wasn't on the agenda. I got all sorts of, CDFW said roads are fine, we just need to do an inspection.
So these studies, we've just done almost 10 months since we had the last 9 inches of rain when
There was no free
Brando went
board.
out and
Yeah.
all went out. 9 inches in one night, and we still haven't done anything. Can anybody tell me when we're going to quit this studies and do actual performance?
That's what the workshop, that's what they said they would discuss with you all at the workshop.
Yeah.
We were trying to have the workshop earlier, remember, we were gonna try to have it like in July, but it got pushed back.
This term slow.
So what is the
Right.
workshop? You're gonna have this workshop, and then are they going to, what's the point, what's gonna come out of the workshop?
Well, from my perspective, the main reason for the workshop is to inform the community about the risk and allow them to learn about what's going on, give feedback to the people that are in charge, and get flood insurance.
But there's
Because-
nothing about what's gonna happen with the levy.
Well, that's up
No,
to
it was supposed to,
Scott and Marina.
in their meeting that they had, they brought them here, and they weren't satisfied, this town hall wasn't satisfied, and lots of people weren't satisfied with what they did in December. So when we brought them forward in February, they were here on Zoom. That's when we discussed some of the project, some people left, some people were upset, 'cause it was redundant. So that's why this council wanted to have a workshop, so they could do a better job explaining it and answering questions like Bob and I think Larry Henry had. There was a lot of other questions that they had, and they didn't feel like what they were giving them at the time was satisfactory, because they were kind of going over the project that has been proposed for the past, I don't know how long.
Redundant.
Right, and so that's why we tried to plan for the workshop to be like in June, and then for whatever reason got pushed back.
But we didn't have contact.
Okay, so,
I think the important thing is that there are residents in this community and they're unaware of the condition of the levee. So I think we need to really look at that also as a kind of a sounding block for the workshop. Because there are people that are unaware
Right.
that
And
that's
that's-
a condition of levees and what potentially can happen. So, we also have to do some, education of that part of it.
all
Correct,
right.
and
Okay.
that's why we're having the lake on the park, but also I asked and I recommend that Water Resources have a computer running that feasibility study, because that's a very important thing for people to see. But
Well, and the other issue is we need to get the community here. Because in the past, and I think that is one of one of our real, top priorities is to get people here and educate them, let them know and ask questions.
So let me ask the question now. I watched this video the other day for the first time and was astounded. Number one, this has already been done. Why has it stalled out?
They were.
Why are we going forward on this?
Okay, so for the town hall, basically this started in January of this year when Julia brought it up. So we created a letter which we gave to the Board of Supervisors.
I've been here.
We gave to the Board of Supervisors, we gave it to the Water Resources, we've given it to just about everybody that we can. Now, when Water Resources came here to our meeting on Zoom, they started talking about all the technical stuff about funding, and we said, wait, no, we don't want to.
the history.
So, basically, we asked Water Resources, did they read the letter that we gave to the Board of Supervisors? And they said, yes, they did. And they said, and I asked, do you agree with our findings? And they said, yes, they do.
The findings being that we return the levy to the original water flow
They
capacity.
believe, as we do, that the levee system needs to be returned to its original capacity. And now we're just trying to get that done.
But they showed the alternatives even in that video. There were 3 different fixes.
And they said by the end of the year.
Right.
They would have
In
it.
2022.
So do we know that was my, I watched the video and I was astounded by it too. I didn't know the video even occurred.
Same.
But I was astounded that they studied this and
Yes.
concur with all of us that the levee system can be, I believe, breached through the levee system during a winter year. So, do we know when the alternatives are going to be released? Or when they're going to be, is Marina know when they're going to get the alternatives?
They said they were giving you that at the workshop.
They're going to do it at the workshop?
They also, at the end of that meeting, even though there's, some dissension, there was like an agreement between this
Us
group,
and
the
the
community
water
member,
resources.
and that was where it was gonna take place, was the workshop.
Workshop.
And they were gonna give an update as to what the work they were gonna do to accommodate the time that you're talking about.
Well, the other thing is that I want to commend our board for moving forward. Because to me, it's now, if you're looking at whose responsibility it is, it would be water resources. And they haven't elected to, come and educate us. Because I was very frustrated that night. And yes, people were that, we're going through this. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about this. And I felt that they missed the opportunity to really hone in on what the community and what the board was presenting. So I'm hoping, it's almost like maybe they should have initiated this. Maybe they should have stepped up and said, look, this is what we're going to do for you folks.
Well,
And
part of the challenge here is, and I want to address what you're speaking about and what you're speaking to in my own personal opinion and what I think the solution is. So there's no staffing. When I ran into Marina, she said for the last 2 months, the majority of her staff have been out for COVID. They don't have, we're in this predicament because nobody's taking care of the levy because they don't have staffing. There might be other reasons, but that's the main reason that's being used. And so depending on water resources to bring this forward to the board, I don't think is logical. Sorry about that, Supervisor Mayor.
No, I didn't.
And that's why I say you can bring it to the board. And, it would be a great platform for you. And really, you could shine here by bringing it to the board and saying, we got to do something. This is drastic. This we do, and it is drastic. And that's why I said at the last meeting, you could bring it to the board, and the response was, well, so could water resources. I don't think that's in our best interest because water resources has been in charge, and look where we are. So I really am a proponent. That's why I'm like, let's get this done. Let's get it work. So to answer your question, hopefully the workshop will provide some information, but as I told Mr. De Leon in that email about inviting the engineer to have a table, which would be another table to be here, is the feasibility study engineer to have their own table. Because of them having the feasibility study done by the end of the year, and that they wanted community input and the down-up that they want the community to give input on suggestions and everything like that. What a great opportunity to get all that done. So from my perspective, it's not the end of the year. We're meeting in September. They can finalize it in November. The board needs to do something with it, don't they? Or are they just gonna?
And then when are you going to get a demoney and clean it up?
Well, that's.
You don't have water here in 2 months, and then you're going to have fishing game. You can't put a piece of equipment in a pit bed. Sorry.
We can have the goats do it.
I'll go to my ass.
They can do it in 2 weeks, I'm told. But the problem, and then you come in and chop all the extra wood.
There's big trees in there.
Yeah, well, they can get the bottom leaves that will clear it out so people can cut those trees or pull them out. And Fish and Wildlife have said that they just need to do an inspection to approve the goats and that they
Yeah, but
go
I
grazing in
everybody
channels all
agrees
the
about
time. So I'm just trying to come up with a solution as quickly as possible. We aren't going to get what we need this year, and we're probably going to flood, and that's why we have to have flood insurance, from my perspective.
What about all the taxes that are collected for the maintenance of the levee? I mean, for years.
And that's a point, because I had a citizen stop me at the post office yesterday, or the day before yesterday, and that was her question. We pay, it's on the tax roll, where did the money go? Did it go to general fund where, nobody can find the link as to where the maintenance money, found its way, so.
When we asked them as well, the same day, Thursday, they didn't really give us an answer either, but like you said, it's in the budget. It's just not enough to cover the project, so that's another thing.
Well, it's not, where is it in the budget? Because it's
Right.
not in the water resources section of the budget. What's in the water resources section of the current budget is zone 1, 4, and 5.
There's no aid, right?
There's no aid.
And so the other thing I know that you mentioned as well was that you hired a contractor to conduct a plan or something of that nature.
The surveyors that were out there,
I don't know if that's the same one. No, it's not the same one, but yeah. For
Um,
the project in general.
Yeah, that's the one that I want to have at the table.
And that's, yes,
Yes.
that's what you want for the project description,
Yes.
yes.
And, you know, circling around this whole thing, we've got to get the community in here.
I
Or we're
agree.
just gonna stall again, and, when we have, you know, the individuals that are important to this whole project, that's when the community has to come forth and question and actually put pressure on for a conformance in action. So, I think, you know, one of our main, goals is to get this out to the community and get the folks here on the 28th.
So there can't be enough advertising.
Right.
Can we get it on
There
the
was,
website?
well, yeah, it shouldn't be an issue to get the meeting, you know, yeah, it shouldn't be an issue.
Workshop?
The other thing is that, they stated, to bring it to the board, they wanted to meet with you in the workshop. That's why I'm going back to that. You never asked me to bring it to you. That's why you came and brought it before public input. You guys read the letter. That was the direction that was chosen before. And now I'm hearing you want to bring it to the board. So after the workshop, we'll bring it to the board.
And Elizabeth, I'm sure you can write an article and, really, you know,
Yeah.
put that out there for the,
No,
well, for
it
the
will-
people to come. I'm just talking about getting community here.
And we'll continue, we'll put it on Facebook, we'll put it on our Instagram page. I've got pictures of the levees I can put out on Instagram.
Good, all right.
That's
And-
great, Lisa.
And we can even come and video it and do whatever, but yeah. I mean, so then is the idea then you get, on the 28th, you have this meeting, and then you take what you gather there, and you sit down with the supervisor and say, let's bring this to the Board of Supervisors for full community discussion with water resources. And then does that allow you to move forward with your options? Is it possible that that could start either later this year or early next? Is that the alternatives, on which alternative to move on?
Well, that's,
I think that's where we're at. If we're gonna see any
that was what they
results.
agreed on when they talked about it before. And so
Okay.
that's why we're at this, where we're at.
So going back to the agenda, who is attending, that's where we're at, and then the other potential community members.
Just put with,
So my guess is what that means is, you know, my vision of this has been have either a council member or a community member at each one of these tables
right,
taking notes.
that's what that was for.
Yeah,
so you
that's what I thought. So, I know Linda and Thomas, and I think Tim, you too, and myself have signed up for tables. Tony Gonzalez has signed up for a table, and our role is to either record or take notes or whatever, so that we can have access to what's being discussed from those people's perspective, and can share that with the Board of Supervisors and Water Resources. You know, I mean, I think we need to come at this as many prongs as possible, because we're in a very serious situation. So if any council members or any more community members want to be a note taker at a table, please let me know after the meeting, and we've got 3 tables left, and one of them can be yours. I'm not too worried about, I mean, we'll get those filled, I'm not worried about that, so if nobody comes forward today, I'm not worried. Is there anything else that we need to discuss about other potential community members?
You said the town council, or the town
Over
group?
the upper lake.
Community council?
And you said that you wanted to invite them for their own table as well, or something like that?
That's at the fall festival.
Oh, you're talking about the fall festival?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Betsy had also mentioned that here to invite media and also community council. She mentioned them, and then North Shore Business Association. I'm just reading what Betsy
Okay,
said.
great.
I think the town council representative, we're switching nights to accommodate their meeting, and I think that they are representative of the town. It would be great that they, you know, show up and join in. And
So we want to make sure that they know. the
Well,
dates.
so guys, I don't think that's gonna be an issue, because Ben represented the community town council and businessman in our meeting on Thursday,
Right,
with
he did.
Supervisor Crandall, and they're on board.
Yeah.
And they actually offered Worth a booth at the Upper Lake Fall
Fall
Festival, which is after our workshop, but, you know, that's another way we can, I mean, I think that there's community, we're like this at the moment, and I attacking the problem.
So
Because I'm in contact with him almost daily, but one of the representatives.
at the fall festival, if we had a table for the worth, we could have some of these materials
Correct.
that we have,
And anything from the workshop.
and we could have the facsimile of the card without the card.
Yes.
So-
We could have
so-
whatever we want,
Yeah, okay.
and that would be
That's-
something to put on the agenda then.
Okay, so we want to put on the coming agenda, the September agenda, because obviously it's in October,
Yes.
for Worth presents.
It's a free booth, and I have the table and the, cover and such, so,
And at this September meeting, we can perhaps discuss what kind of materials and where to do.
Well, what was offered to us was the levy project, just so you know. That's what was offered to us, a free booth for the levy project to get the word out about
Yeah,
the
well, I would think, whether it's worth or not, it would be pretty much the levy.
Yeah, I just wanted
At this
to,
point,
yeah, I wanted to make sure I was clear about that.
okay. So, not any tech projects.
And then if there's no other discussion about other potential community members, we can move on to recording the notes, which I think I just talked about.
Well, that and I'm going to make sure Sam's here so that way you have a better recording than what I propose, what I bring to the. And when we have in the last two meetings, they haven't set up for us for whatever reason. But that usually does a really good job with what they have, because they have microphones that usually set out. I mean, we can ask them as well, but I'm going to make sure Sam's here for that one.
Well, we're gonna have tables and people are gonna be rotating around them.
Right.
So really what we need is a videographer that can move around.
They did the same thing for the cannabis workshop,
Right,
so
that's exactly
the
what I
goal.
was hoping for. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, AJ. That's gonna be great. Because then we can bring a computer and run that whole video at our
You mean the video just like running continuously or something?
at the Lake Community Fall Festival.
Oh. So you'd like to get a screen and a.
I have that. I'm not worried about that.
Oh.
I'm happy to, I've got extra.
So we could talk about.
He
all
puts
that.
the meetings on YouTube, on the work of YouTube.
What? How's it YouTube?
He puts your meetings on the YouTube.
No, I think Carolyn does that.
No, when the video comes through, Sam gets them and puts them on the
okay.
YouTube channel.
Got it.
Is that the same that it does at the board of supervisors meeting? And so I could go on YouTube and find these?
Yes.
Is that true for all the town halls?
So yes, some of them, if there was issues, but he's putting them on. I sent them all of them. I made a file for him so he can have them, yes.
We're
Some of
missing a
them
few.
were, yes, some of them were not recorded for whatever reason because of the link to the Wi-Fi or whatever. It went out, so the recording didn't take place. But we're trying to do a better job, and we're working on another key element to try and have someone actually record the meetings rather than depend on any other type of recording with Zoom, so that way it can be
Live.
posted and logged, so that way you can hear everything and have the actual video with somebody.
So basically, it's slightly more professional.
Right, that's, yes, Sam and I and Bruno are working on something along those lines right now, so.
So I think,
Because in each town hall, there's the same issue, is no sound, the video sometimes isn't, so.
Oh, so this is a sort of your ongoing project to normalize
Right.
the recordings and all that stuff. That's excellent. So I mean, obviously these town halls, when you think about it, they're still a fairly new development.
Well,
It's only been like since 2017.
right.
well, if you look at other municipal advisory councils, I can tell you, they are very professional and they're run squeaky clean.
Which ones are those?
Redwood Valley, the Coast,
Pop does a pretty good job.
Anderson Valley, in Lake County, I'm not sure.
That's,
Cognight, Scotts Valley, you attended that one.
yes, but I don't know about, recording it.
Yeah. So are we,
I don't think they record theirs, it's not that.
So, the next is the project description. And it was,
Okay, as long as it was posted to the general public.
it was posted.
Thank you.
So, and I have no idea what it is.
Well, we talked about it at the beginning. So typically, a project description is what a government agency in the environmental world needs to give boundaries of what their role is, or what they're going to talk about, or what their expertise is. And both the Army Corps of Engineers and Fish and Wildlife want a project description. The feasibility study is kind of a catch-all of what a project description could get narrowed down to. And the original letter that the board wrote to the Board of Supervisors, returning the channel to its original flow capacity, is part of the project description. I just sent today to Fish and Wildlife the video, the connection that you guys all, the feasibility study. And I'm going to see what they send back in regards to, I said, this gets us closer to a project description. What do you think? So that if we don't have a project description, we have something. Project descriptions are typically written by the government agency or a subcontractor hired by the government agency. And, I'm over here going, project description, and unfortunately Tim put it on the agenda. I'm not getting any response, but I'm going to keep doing it until we do, because.
Okay, so it's not something we're actually responsible for. It's not something that we're gonna.
No, it's water resources.
Okay, so it's an official thing, and it's.
And I don't know if when you did your Public Request Act, that wasn't included, right?
There's no project description.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I know that there was none when you requested one as well. Project description, did they provide one for you? Water resources?
I haven't made a public resource, a PRA to them for that.
Okay.
But I am, so this project though, has this gone through CEQA? I mean, is this a done thing? They're just getting ready to do it, or?
So, Fish and Wildlife says that this project needs to go through CEQA. And
Okay.
I'm going to quote Mr. Torres in my meeting with him, Benjamin, and Ben, that I put in my notes.
And you,
Yes, which was the county didn't want to do CEQA. That's why they got this LSA. So this project is going to require CEQA. That's why nothing's going to get done until that's CEQA. And who would the county is going to do that when there's no staff? In my opinion, the Board of Supervisors needs to take direction, allocate funds, hire a subcontractor so they can do the work the staff can't do and get that done, from my perspective. But I'm just one sole little person.
I think you said the same thing when you guys talked to them, so. Right.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Well, my flood insurance, there's no flood insurance out of my way. Next to that, I cannot get flood insurance.
You can through FEMA. It's maxed out at $250,000. You can get it. I couldn't get insurance either. And I have done research upon research, and by law, federal law, anyone inside or outside a flood zone can get FEMA flood insurance up to $250,000. And there's certain things that they pay for and certain things they don't pay for.
Was your house built up? Because my flood insurance didn't cover anything under my house or my sheds when we flooded and were under 5 feet of water. Nothing was covered.
They cover the walls and the foundation.
That didn't help us one little bit.
Yeah.
Not
So
one iota did it.
what the insurance agents told me is that FEMA flood insurance is not to restore you to full capacity, it's to keep you from being homeless.
Judy, I mean, they get you a boat.
I got my house insurance.
Here's my concern. My concern is that all these homes that are charming and individual in Upper Lake that have this feel of Upper Lake with the western feel are all going to get annihilated, and we're going to be a town full of prefabbed homes that cost up to $250,000, which that's not why I live here. And so You know, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. So that's the project description, and hopefully you get one.
All right.
And I'm gonna keep asking.
So this is public input, that's just a standard statement you put in there? Is it?
But you, yeah, I just.
Just read it.
I want to make a couple things, something else on the agenda.
You make discussion.
Well, I want to make residents.
Go ahead.
Claudine.
Okay, thank you. I think that I brought to the attention of our Worth Committee that I manage the Silver Foundation Companion Pet Program. So I've been inundated lately with calls. I take them all through the senior center. And one of the big issues, one of the tormenting issues for seniors are the feral pet task colonies that are inundating this county. And I would like to look into, and honestly, I got 2 calls from out of county from agencies that handle feral cats. And 99% of the calls that they're getting for help are from Lake County. So I would really like us to explore this out of control situation that really is, it's plaguing our seniors because they've got cat colonies around them. They don't have the ability to trap and bring forth. And our animal control program is like 75 to 80 people out, and we've got to do something. And the other, I'll keep it brief. The other night I was sitting in my own yard and I have an acre, and I looked down acres beyond, and I'm like, what is that? I called a little gentleman who's a senior down there. There must be 10 to 12 feral cats in his yard. He knows not whereabouts, has no ability to trap and spay and neuter. He said they're coming into his, into his garages and destroying everything. But anyway, we've got a problem, and I really think as a county, as a community, we need to look into this.
So that must be part of public input, because it's not.
It
on
is
the-
part- yeah.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda, so we can't discuss it.
No, I don't expect it, but I want to put it on the agenda.
Great.
Feral cats, we've been here before.
But we haven't come up with
Did
a
you find
viable
out?
solution.
Kate.
The grand jury report for 2021-2022 has a 10-page address of this. I've made copies of it, and I'll be happy to individually provide copies of just that section to all the council members and anyone else in the audience. It offers not a lot of comfort, but at least some basic information. And so approach me, give me an address, and I'll send you out a copy so that we can be best advised of what the county grand jury report actually put in at the next meeting.
The grand jury was discussing feral cats.
Yes?
It's epidemic, it's unbelievable.
Oh, no, I believe it.
3 minutes, 3 minutes.
I believe it. All right, feral cats at September meeting. We done.
Does any of the public want to speak? You have 3 minutes for anything that's not on the agenda.
Read the mouse, read what the mouse says.
Look, you go ahead, Tim.
Did Betsy have anything?
It says up to 3 minutes per citizen to provide input on any item
Yes,
not on the
oh, sorry, go
agenda,
ahead, go ahead.
but is within the council's jurisdiction. Worth Chair can extend the time to accommodate the topic if needed, but cannot discuss the item if not on appearing on the agenda. These items can often be further discussed on a future agenda item if the Worth Council decides to add it, which they did about feral cats.
Yes. And the Worth Booth at the Fulton.
Yes. I make a motion that we adjourn.
No, I want to hear what Tim had to say about the streetlights under announcements.
Oh, okay, I can do that, I can do that. I'm, see you, Bob. See you, thank you. I'm gonna paraphrase this. Basically, I got a email from Scott Harder of Special Districts, and he said that they had hired an outside contractor to look at the electrical system. And he said that they had repaired it. And he said that he had personally not been over here at night to see, so it's possible that there are still bulbs that are not working. But the underlying electrical system, he says, is repaired. So he needs to be informed. I was thinking about doing the grid, like going from Highway 20 to 1, 2, 3, 4, and saying which ones are on or not. But I
When did he contact you, Jim?
probably in the last couple of days.
Okay.
I think that I feel like community council's on this. You might want to communicate with one of them.
Talk to Ben.
One, someone.
Well, I forwarded, I
Because
sent,
they look at it at night.
yes, I sent the email to Bernie, and he said I should ask Ben.
Because Pat needs to do it or something.
Yeah, well, I mean,
But
just,
it's-
yeah, could
Special districts.
very well be that that's the tradition of the,
Pat just did it because special districts wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
The Special districts is supposed to do it.
yes, yes.
If this levy situation isn't taken care of probably relatively soon, wouldn't that open the county up to massive lawsuits of potentially 1,100?
Residents?
Yeah, I mean, literally, because they've been forewarned, they've gone to board of supervisor meetings, there's been letters, there's been studies. I mean, it just seems like, just to protect the county, they need to get it done.
The only trouble with suing the county is that you pay for it.
That wasn't how it was for Lakeside Heights.
Well, I mean, if you're a county resident, you take any liability that the county has. How can you not?
Well,
I think you should probably check one of the, did you do a story on it?
Yeah,
Check the story.
They won $4.5 million
From
for the county, and the county's insurance wouldn't cover it because it was a liability. That's why they started selling things off like the Lucerne Hotel.
So,
Yes.
that's
no.
my concern also.
Obviously, I think
I'm not an attorney.
it's everybody's concern that we don't get to that point. Obviously, we want to see a resolution of this in a complete fashion so that we don't have to live with that fear all the time of being
And
followed.
that, that's where community awareness and community, I hate to use the word, but pressure. And that's why we're offering this workshop.
Yeah,
It's
it's
great
the workshop's the
people
first step towards.
Yeah,
going
so
there.
we,
then-
that's what, we want more people.
And then.
And quite honestly, it has to be in everybody's conversation at this point until it gets fixed.
I can tell you that it's in a lot of people's conversation
Yeah.
of the day.
Well, we have-
Everybody's talking about
We
it.
still need to get them here, Julia.
I think they will.
Well, or whatever, I mean, it's like everybody says, the only way it gets done is if there's pressure. It's like even doing the streetlights.
That's right.
If you don't ask the guy about the streetlights, he's got other things to do.
Right.
So we have to focus on what are the result we want and just
Drive it home.
and keep going. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any other way to do it. And it's not whether anybody has responsibility or needs to have responsibility. It's
None of your responsibility.
we're living, yeah, I understand, but it's like we're the county, we're in it. It's like we all.
We're an advisory council.
Well, I mean, and we're citizens too, we're citizens, and it just, we need to let people know that we should be doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, it sounds like from what I'm gathering, Supervisor Crandall, is that this workshop is a key pivot point. And
That's what you both determined.
yeah, and so that,
We
once
hope
that's,
so, that's right.
once that's done, we'll see what happens, but I'm encouraged with the statement of the board after the workshop, and move it forward, because I really think, my work is with many counties, and I'm seeing it all over these rural, poor counties, that there's not enough staff and people aren't doing the work. And so I'm actually working with some of the counties and getting, subcontractors hired to take that work on.
Right.
And I really think that the board has to take action. It's It's nothing against water resources or staff, or anything like that, they just aren't staffed to handle this, that's why we're in this predicament. And so we really need to do something here.
It's the rural counties limit.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'm having a couple announcements. September 17th is coming up again, that's the cleanup. I'm gonna try to reach out to my fellow volunteers somewhere on the board. If you'd like to join me, reach out to me. It's great to get out there and clean. We'll be hitting the east cutoff, and Tim, don't drink and share. And that'll be part of, I'll send emails to everybody. So if anybody would like to join us, it's very rewarding and get things done and get cleaned up out there. And secondary to that, next month I'll be bringing some brochures for, again, the Halloween Fest, which is the Vision of Hope Village, we're doing at the Nice Event Center. And it's going to be a big event for kids with disabilities, autism, and everybody. And I'll have more information, brochures.
At the September.
At the September meeting. The dances are the events on October 28th. And it's going to be a pretty big one. We have 3 food vendors coming out. We've got DJs, face painting, and it's open the first few hours. And Elizabeth, I'll have my wife Robin reach out to you about Vision of Hope Village. I'm not sure if you're aware of the non-for-profit yet.
I heard a little bit, but yes, please have
Yeah, they're just
her
beginning to
message.
get the marketing done on that. It's going to be a real special occasion.
And I really want to reiterate, Tim, if you can get that map to me ASAP, you will have something by Friday, so that next week, Monday, you can be in the office same week, because that's, we need to get information.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
We have-
My motion is it to adjourn?
Yes.
Linda's second.
And we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you so much.